So tell me what's going on inside your head. What are your concerns?
Well, look, we're really worried about this. What the government talks a good game. Yes, we've got our eye on the ball. Yes, we know that things are going to be different. Yes, we know there are going to be different processes. But what we're seeing time and time again is a lack of action. And in very simple terms, what's the problem? Well, in very simple terms, we've got a whole heap of form filling and red tape that businesses, traders and hauliers will have to do next year as a result of leaving the EU, whether we leave with a deal or not. It's just a case of how bad it is.
Right.
But there is a lot to do and the government's not ahead of the game.
Well, so give us a sense of the scale of that, because, what does it actually mean? I saw lots of stuff in the FT today. What does it mean to construct a new supply chain after 50 years of free trade with the EU?
Okay, so up to now we've been frictionless borders, lorries going across carrying all our good stuff to and from Europe. Suddenly it will all change and there will be masses of form filling. The sort of forms that are required will require about 50,000 customs agents to be employed to do this work. These are very onerous forms, whatever happens. And at the moment, there are only 5,000 customs agents in the UK. So we've got 82 days to train and recruit 50,000 agents. So
well, just saying, on that point, before you move on, I do want to hear what you're going on to say, but hiring those 45,000, I mean, there's lots of people looking for a job at the moment. Is that doable in the time?
Well, absolutely. But it is up to the government to kind of press the button on this and make clear what it is that these agents will have to do. Because you certainly don't want to hire 45,000 people and then not be able to tell them what they have to do because the systems aren't agreed and cleared and all the rest of it.
Right.
For example, we've got 10 different IT systems which will be involved in this new process. We have no idea whether these IT systems will talk to each other in an effective way. The government is apparently inventing an app called a Smart Freight app, which will be given to lorry drivers, and lorry drivers will then be able to, as it were, prove that their stuff has been passed through customs. Problem is, no one knows whether this app will work. The government doesn't have a great record on apps, does it? I'm thinking Isle of Wight. And secondly, most lorry drivers, international lorry drivers, are not British, and English is not their first language. So that's going to be challenging, isn't it?
Well, that was point number one. What are your other points?
Well, without going into too much detail, we've talked about the IT. We are really worried about the lack of clarity. The traders need to know what forms they have to fill out, what information is required, potentially what duties need to be paid and when and so forth. And the government's given a little bit of guidance, but they produced a 200-page document a little while back, which had more holes in it than Swiss cheese. And, we've pointed that out to them and they've said, yep, we're working on it. Don't worry. We'll come back to you. But the reason why I am getting frustrated, our organisation is getting frustrated, and traders and hauliers are getting frustrated, is there seems to be a lack of pace. 82 days to go.
Right.
When will they wake up?
OK, well, I should point out the government has spent something like £750 million or will have spent that on infrastructure, technology and the customs intermediary sector before January the 1st, they say. So is this, you've now issued this clarion call. Have you had a good response from the government? Have they agreed to meet you?
Well, the government says they will meet us, and you would expect that. But it's not so much meeting them, is what we want is them to actually do something.
Right.
Because we do have regular meetings with the government, and they saw all these things that you just said. We're spending lots of money and we've got lots of plans, but they can't explain it. And one senior civil servant was talking to a haulier recently, and basically said, I don't really understand what you're talking about,
right,
to the haulier. So if senior civil servants don't understand the process that's involved, that they themselves are involved in inventing, we've got a problem.
Do you think they've unleashed a beast?
Stuff.
A beast they don't know how to tame?
Exactly right.
Well, I mean, is it possible to get all this done by the end of the year? Your final thought, is this fixable?
It's very, very difficult. I'm trying not to be pessimistic, but it is a big ask. If you think about hiring 45,000 agents, telling literally thousands of businesses what they have to do at a time of COVID, at a time when we're trying to rebuild the economy, as Oliver was saying earlier, we're really stacking the cards up against ourselves at the moment. It's not looking pretty.
Okay. I keep hoping that I'll get some guests on the programme who will cheer us all up. But I mean, we've had bad news on the vaccines, and now you're saying it's all doom and gloom on a Brexit deal. But Rob McKenzie from the Road Haulage Association, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.